Hi everyone, thanks for tuning into my tarot channel today. I have a one card reading for you today, and it is the Hanged Man. So you are in a situation where you are in between, you are in limbo, you are maybe feeling stuck, excuse me, maybe you are also in a place of finding your heart opening or forgiveness, but also seeing from a different perspective than you have previously, and that perspective can be painful for the heart. If you've ever done yoga, doing an inversion, like going upside down, or like either like doing plow pose and then putting your legs above your head from there, or doing just like a headstand or a handstand, can be so good for the blood, for the whole body, to like replenish the blood flow and redirect and just like sort of help the organs refresh. And I like do it a couple of times a week at least, and you try to hold it for at least 2 minutes, 3 minutes anyway, because then you come back and everything is sort of just doing that. It's also, if you want to do a mini version of that, you could hold up your legs in a sauna. You could like put them against the wall, and there could be like the blood flow will redirect, and it's just good to sort of jiggle it up, I guess. And maybe that's something you have to do in your life too. Maybe you have to like go completely backwards, not like backwards, but you have to maybe grab a hold of a thread. I was seeing a thread today, like a long thread, like a chain that people were holding and pulling, and it was connected to something. It's not that unusual for me because I'm like I do a lot of fiber art. I'm a fiber artist as well as a painter and work in several other mediums. But the thread, I also saw a sign that said like, let love in. Something very similar to that, like welcome love in, or something like that. And that made an impression on me. I know it's the year of the snake, and that's supposed to be, for me, that's about transformation, relating to Scorpio. It's an early primitive symbol for the Scorpio. It's also about shedding old skins. It's about yeah, like sort of moving on in a way. Have you ever seen a snake in tall grass? It makes you walk. You know, if you ever spent time in like a remote area, and you know that being in, sorry, I have some weird hair on my mouth. You'll know that being in tall grass can be dangerous because there can be snakes, and they can slither. And also in ponds, or you know, like there can be like murky water, so you can not be sure if they're coming for you. Snakes came up in my last imagery. It's making me think of, the next step of Scorpio would be lizard, and it's making me think of, so it goes snake, lizard, I believe scorpion, eagle, dove, and then phoenix if you want somewhere in there. But the whole idea is generation and rebirth and regrowth, which Scorpio is adept at and represents. And to do that, you have to die. I don't know if you've ever heard of this show called My So-Called Life. I was like thinking about it today. It's like this silly kind of soap opera from the 90s that I think it was on MTV with Claire Danes, and it's like, it's just her sort of dramatized, it's like a dramatized like high school, but like, yes, her life is like, there's challenges with like romantic partners and like fitting in and stuff, and she's sort of like a depressive character, but really her life isn't really that hard. I think that, I'm not saying your life isn't that hard. I'm gonna go in the dark now, sorry. I think that the title of my so-called life, you don't feel embodied in your life. You don't feel like it's real. You're waiting for something to happen to make, you're like, I'll start living once this happens. I'll start being happy once that happens. And that's like the opposite of how it works. Once you start enjoying and being happy in the moment, that's when the good things come in. So then it's, instead of my so-called life, it's my life. Yeah. And also, like, I'm seeing that, like, you had a lot of issues growing up. Sorry, this is where the channeling comes in, because I'm not really thinking at this, I'm just sort of letting what comes through come through. I'm seeing that, like, you had a lot of issues in your childhood with like traumatic things about like embarrassment in groups, and feeling like also just the same way in your family. Maybe you're like a black sheep type of person. And I'm also seeing, you know, in my mind, the Hanged Man can relate to Pisces, which can be in a negative sense about deception. I think we got the card reversed, actually. So maybe you have felt deceived by someone recently, and it was a negative experience, and it made you wonder, and you were like, you also saw the like humanity in this person's attempt to deceive you. You were like, oh, you poor thing, you thought you could get away with this. And then it made you think about, since Pisces is so close to Aquarius, I'm going to get into a little bit of that there. So any Pisces person will have Aquarius in the 12th house. That means they will have a secret, real, like, penchant for activism. And that is like something that's waiting to be awoken within them. That's like a really strong thing. And also other Aquarius traits, like community. So they can be really community healers, Pisces people. Or if you have other things in the chart with Pisces. Anyway, or Aquarius. Okay, then Aquarius has Pisces in the 2nd house. So so that means that their like livelihood, their self-esteem, and their maybe the place they live, their job is related to Piscean things. So it's really important. So that really equates to the same thing, that like they're both people who like must serve the community. And also that goes to that goes down to Capricorn too, because Capricorn has 2nd house in Aquarius, so their job will be to usually involve the community. So let's get back to the Hanged Man and the hidden activism maybe within you. Is that what's coming through? Some deception that like continues to happen, but like it's also, I feel that you're like seeing humanity differently. Like you're starting to see from a more detached point of view. And the Pisces card can relate, I mean the Hanged Man in the Pisces relationship there can relate to Christ. Gnostic Bibles say Christ was the Pisces, but I'm seeing a star image in my mind. Not the star card, but like literally a star. it's important right now that you use all elements at your disposal to, like the magician would, to know what snake is in the grass. Because also the Pisces is very innocent and vulnerable, and that could mean, not in reverse, the Hanged Man, which relates to Pisces, could mean being sort of unaware of a deception. But also it can, it can mean disillusionment from something that was heart-based, so that you're seeing humanity differently. You're seeing, one of my favorite poems is this poem by Hart Crane called The Bridge. I think I might have posted it on here before, but it's basically just like about the Brooklyn Bridge, and it's sort of lyrical, and in my mind it talks about the bridge of humanity, that like we're all on this, and I think I talked about this in another reading too, like you may think your life should be this way or that way, or needs to be more perfect, but like you're just resting on the bridge of, we're all in transition anyway, and in a liminal space wherever we are. No one's ever settled. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. But yeah, you may have trouble with being in between, and you may have been dealing with someone who maybe has mental illness. Pisces can relate to mental illness and addiction as well, and also absence. All these things could come into play with a person that you're dealing with, or a situation. Maybe you're feeling like someone's very absent or not around. Someone with the sun in Pisces usually has an absent father in one way or another. Detachment is where I was trying to go. And I'm gonna get back to the star imagery, but detaching from realizing that every human, okay, here's where the stars come in. So there's all the stars, right? And they're so beautiful and unique, and there's like millions, billions, trillions. We don't know like how many of them. Some of them are dead already. Some of them are like really far away from us, and I mean they're all far away, but some of them are like the time that we're seeing them is like different than their existence. You may be in a situation where like you're seeing shadows of a relationship or an experience, and you're like, it's like not the same as it was. But also that like, okay, if you go out and look at the stars, it's like humanity, like we're all one little tiny star, but we all make up this big sky. And we all matter, which I think is important and is beautiful. I believe the star is it is an early Christian symbol, but it's really used in many religions. There's the Star of David. There's the Star of Bethlehem is what I was thinking of though. But there's also, I believe in Arabic traditions, the star has an important symbolism in Islam. I believe usually it relates to protection, and and also Pisces can relate to hidden protection. Sorry, I keep really having enough Pisces in this reading. We will be going into Pisces season soon, actually, so it makes sense that I'm thinking about it. But instead of this time, so I'm trying to say that like you're not alone in this like time of not being clear, of being like, I'm confused, things aren't the way I want, or like maybe even you're dealing with an illness. The Pisces sign can be about mysterious illnesses. You know, sometimes things happen in life and we don't know why. And I was gonna get to with the uniqueness of the stars, and we're all different, and you may feel insignificant, but you matter, and also you don't matter, which could be freeing. But also there may be people you're dealing with who like are just like, you're realizing they're like permanent, they're just like irreparably flawed, and you're realizing that all people are irreparably, I can't even say it, flawed. Like every single person has some sort of like thing that makes them imperfect. No one is perfect. No one can, but at the same time, we can set sort of like standards or limits or ideas for what we want to accept and tolerate in our lives. You know, just because you can't just say, oh, well, they're not perfect, so I'm gonna like accept abuse or like mistreatment. No, like it's more like conceptual. It's like, I'm not gonna spend my time, I'm gonna seek freedom, and I'm not gonna spend my time, you know, searching for approval or proper treatment from someone who isn't able to provide that. So it's like a little bit of radical acceptance too. And yeah, so it's a little bit of a shorter reading, but I'm wishing you a lot of peace, and just know that in this time of uncertainty, which is the main theme that I'm getting of the reading, maybe even like thinking about things related to your own, just your life and the level of gestation, because Pisces can be about gestation and chemistry. Thinking about like, why am I here? Some like deep existence stuff, and some isolation could be happening, and it's okay to like have these dark feelings. The 12th house is the house of sorrows. So what I want to offer though is sorry, I'm really heavy on saying Pisces is this, Pisces is that, but I am going to say Pisces gives, like it is a giver, and it communicates. So things will be communicated to you in this upcoming season, spiritually, emotionally, and Pisces also annihilates. So anything that no longer serves you, as they say, is going to be removed by this snake energy that's coming in with this new year, and it may not be removed in the way you want, and you may be left feeling like your life is completely not as you planned, and you're like realizing how much of life is, I want to say, happenstance. You know, have you ever heard the Shakespeare line, all the world is stage and all the men and women merely players? Like, if you think about life like that, like, I feel like I'm talking to someone who's taking a lot of things very seriously, and that's good that you're doing that. But also, we are just like playing out these like archetypes, and which Jung talked about, and like caricatures, and like these like stories and these myths. And when we really sit with ourselves and sit in silence, maybe in nature, or like even just like in your bed, finding inner peace, the real story is the real like archetype, the real story that we're all living is love. And love is something that accepts those flaws of others, but most importantly protects and accepts the self in order to live So to love, you must live, and to live, you must love. And otherwise, there's no impetus to survive. In Hegel, he talks about cycles and how everything in life is cyclical, and what we think is happening. It's like, it is similar to repetition compulsion, but it's in a different way. It's like the issues that we think we have now are literally the same issues we had when we were like children, just in completely different ways. And I think Kierkegaard talks about that too. Well, his thing is either or, you know, it's sort of like this or that evil. Like, do I choose, I kind of read it more openly as like, is ignorance bliss? Do I choose to live my life? Like, either way, there's sacrifices and things that we're giving up and changing no matter what happens in life or what choice we make. So, red pill, blue pill, I'm leaving you with some Matrix stuff. Like, you know, you are in a place and a time right now where like the veil is thin with your reality. Like, things are changeable and mutable, which is Pisces season. Like, things are like, it's like the two fish swimming, like death and life. And I think that you can handle it. Yeah, so thanks for tuning in, and I hope you have a great day.